Yes, so my name is Gabriela Grosseck. I'm an associate professor within the Department of Psychology, West University of Timisoara in Romania. It's one of the biggest university in Romania. It's situated in the western part of our country. My academic background is based on digital education for specific purposes. Sorry for my English, it isn't so good. What does it mean? Doing a lot of teaching activities about how to use digital education, digital tools, digital application with students from psychology and educational sciences. Recently, I am involved in a research group about generative AI in higher education, and also I have concerns about digital assessments in higher education. So that's my research area for now. Okay, in simple terms. Well, I think very simple, it's an AI that generates new content. So I think the best way to define is it learns patterns from data, from existing data, to generate new similar data. So it has to have a training database with good and quality data to generate a quality content. In higher education can be used, I think, in a lot of ways. It depends on teachers. If we are referring to institutional level, for example, it can be used by any faculties as a virtual assistant. For example, it can assist students 24 hours, 7 days on a week to respond to some common questions when there are exams, what to prepare for the final thesis and so on. It can be also used at an institutional level as a coacher. For example, if a student needs a specific training on a specific topic, we can basically build a chatbot that reply to all these specific needs. But if you are a teacher, you can use it for your disciplines to create materials, to create new content, to give feedback to students. Imagine that if you have 200 or 300 students, large cohorts of students. Myself in the first year I have 250 students. So it's very difficult to give feedback for one assignment. We have at least 3 assignments per semester. So it automates basically our work. It helps us because it's time savings, and you can plan everything, every educational activity using a Gen AI tool. Also give feedback, a peer review. You can also establish some customized learning for students. So it depends. It depends on your specialties, depends what subjects do you taught, but basically you can do pretty much everything as a human. Well, yes, they can take advantage, but I'm not sure now it is for enhancing learning, or is just I don't want to say cheating now, because when you use as a student a ChatGPT, for example, you look for ideas, you look for research ideas, you look for a helpful tool for your understanding the concepts, the subject they are taught. I think students can take advantage if they are taught how to use properly. So they have to master the prompt. They have to know what to ask in order to get a good answers. And step by step, I think it could lead to and increase the learning of students. I have some examples. I teach first-year students, and this semester my students used ChatGPT and Perplexity to pass the final exam, which was a quiz. Basically, what they did, they built actually a bot from scratch, and they filled this bot with course material, with some examples of quizzes, and asked ChatGPT to build quizzes, and they have two answers. So this is one example. Another example is that I ask students to use ChatGPT to build some presentation and posters, academic posters, which is quite easy to do it in a classical way with a PowerPoint, but to use an AI tool. A presentation, it is easier, but an academic poster, it's a little bit difficult. I think there are plenty now. The most known is the plagiarism, which, by the way, cheating is not a new concept. Everyone, at least, tried to cheat in some point. But plagiarism, biases, I think lack of transparency. What else? Discrimination, disinformation. I think ethical issues around copyright infringements, intellectual property, because we don't know whose work we used. But I think the most important is related with higher education is plagiarism, data security, data protections. For example, OpenAI collects a lot of data about us. So the lack of specific rules at institutional level. So I think these are some weakness that we see in higher education when using Gen AI tools. And of course, I forgot AI hallucinations, the crap AI generated sometimes because it doesn't have proper trained data, so we have to be very careful about that. Yes, properly, yes. I said properly because it's not that simple. For example, you ask a question, you ask ChatGPT, something related with your topic, and the ChatGPT reply to you, or whatever tool, Gen AI tool is. It's not sufficient to just copy paste the content and put it in your material. You have to look at the references. You have to just search if it is true, it is reliable, it's authentic, that knowledge that you get. And the students usually stops at the first phase. Enter, copy, and that's it. And it doesn't go beyond this. That's why I said properly. But the properness, I think it starts with the prompt. It has to be a good prompt. Prompt that means, what is your role? What do you want from the bot, from the model? Because it's not a human, so it doesn't understand the text. It just generates some similar based on statistics. And what are the requirements? And you have to be specific. You have to give the context. You have to be very, very specific. So the student has to learn all these things. Above all, the students has to be taught about the copyright issues, and it has to be taught how to cite properly. For example, APA has included how to cite ChatGPT, but the teacher can ask the student, because you have this option with a link, a share link, just to receive the whole conversations. So then you can actually see if the students used properly in terms of accuracy, correctness, citation, references, and so on. So that's why I said. Oh, ethical implications. For example, if a student uses, let's stick with ChatGPT. Okay, it used ChatGPT for his final thesis, and he don't put any reference at all. Don't talk with his supervisor about this question. He can be expelled, because you don't know as a supervisor what is his content, what is his creation, what originality comes from the student part and not from the both part. So that can be very drastic in terms of ethical. Then it comes, I think, the most urgent one, because it's the final year, and all the students has this problem with defending thesis, is the plagiarism. In ChatGPT, you actually get content, for example, different sources. You don't know if it's a quote from a famous researcher or it's some, I don't know, lecture support material. So you actually have to be very carefully and take your content that ChatGPT gives you and put it in Turnitin, put it in another copyleaks, for example, ZeroGPT, another anti-detector AI plagiarism, to see if there is some copyright infringements there. So yeah, this is the main issues now in the final semester. I think you have to be in control of using generative AI, no matter what the tool. I think it's important to upskill, to reskill, and go to a training. So it's very important to go and pick the right training and start to be more tolerant and more open, because it's not easy. When I heard people that say, oh, it's so easy to use ChatGPT. No, it's not easy. So it's easy because it's like a TikTok scrolling. But in terms of academic purposes, you have to gather your courage and go and spend some time. As a teacher, you have to just reshape your assignments. So maybe if you find yourself in a position that generative AI doesn't help you at all, just drop it and change your assignment. Open book assignments, for example, or I don't know, pen and paper, actually. You can have multiply activities, but I also think it's important to know about the copyright, fair use in education, about Creative Commons licenses, about what is an open educational resource, what is an open educational practice. And I also say to my colleagues and students alike, go and try to discuss with ChatGPT or another tool things that are academics and educational and not personal. Because if you are trying to train on a personal level, you can actually train a chatbot to be biased, and you're not transparent because it's your issues there involved, and you can have problems later. And let's face it, who wants to get a wrong diagnostic, for example, if you have health issues. But in higher education, I think the first thing that you have to do, no matter if you're a teacher or a student, reskill, upskill, and training.
Lead and innovate.